Hey everybody, top of the morning, afternoon, evening to you, no matter what time of day you're watching this. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Welcome to Kelly's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making Irish nachos. This is such an important part of my childhood. I grew up in the Grand Prairie, Arlington, Texas area, and there was this place called Jay Gilligan's. It's like a sports bar dive in a college town, and they made the best Irish nachos. So think of a cross between scalloped potatoes meets potato skins meets nachos. So they're real easy to whip together. They're absolutely delicious. But when I was trying to think, what can I make on St. Patrick's Day? The first thing that came to my mind was Irish nachos. So stick around, let me show you how to do these. One thing to note about these potatoes is a little goes a long way. I'm only going to make a small batch now for presentation purposes, and I'll make more later. But depending on the size of crowd you're feeding will determine how many potatoes you use. And I leave the skin on, so I'm just going to show you how thick you're going to want to cut these to be about that size. You don't want them too thin, you don't want them too thick, but you want them to be able to hold all the toppings. And you also want them to cook all the way through. So I'm going to cut them about this size. And I know I'm stating the obvious, but you're going to want to wash these first. I think I forgot to mention that. So next, while we're waiting for the oven to get to 450, we are going to just drop a couple of drops. I'd say about a tablespoon, because I'm not using that many potatoes, but you just kind of want to gauge it according to how big of a batch you're making. But right now I'm going to do about 1 tablespoon. Then you're going to want to just gently go in with those clean hands and give it a good toss. Get all the potatoes nice and coated. Now I'm going to use this nifty little air fryer baking sheet, and it's got a couple of crumbs because I used this last night making some egg rolls. But where I'm going with this is, if you aren't using something like this, you're going to want to turn it after 15 minutes, but I don't need to do that because I don't need to flip it, and I'm just going to bake it all the way through for 30 minutes. You're just going to line your sheet pan once it's been covered with the oil. Now I have a smaller pan, and in order to achieve the optimized crispness, you probably don't want to overlap these too much, but just for the sake of demonstration, because I've already covered these and I don't want them to start browning, and I want to get this all in one shot, I'm just going to go ahead and overlap it. So I don't expect these to get as crispy, but you get the idea. Okay, so the oven's at 450. I'm going to just stick this in for 30 minutes to crisp them up. Be right back. For toppings, we're going to do basically what you would do for a baked potato or potato skins. Now, I can't find my sour cream, but to me, this plain non-fat Greek yogurt tastes just like sour cream. I can't really tell them apart, and I think it's a little bit healthier for you. So this is what we're going to use, along with some sharp cheddar cheese that I'm going to grate. I'm going to cut up some green onions. Now, obviously, fresh homemade bacon would be the best, but I'm going to use these real bacon pieces instead. And I had just come across this Papa John's garlic spread or dipping sauce that I wish I tossed the potatoes in instead of just regular olive oil. That would have been really good as well, but these are going to be delicious no matter what. I know that I've said this before, but in case you do not know this, these green onions, you can just plant them. They've got their roots intact in a glass of water, set them in front of a windowsill, and they will continue to grow. I think that we kept the same one for a couple of months, and then it started getting kind of sketch because honestly, we weren't changing the water out as much as we should have. We kind of forgot about them. But this is just one of those things. You can probably find it at the store at Aldi or something for like $1. And it's like the gift that keeps on giving. Now, if you wanted to make this really easy, you can use pre-shredded cheese. I'm not as big of a fan of the pre-shredded cheese. To me, I just rather do it myself. I think it tastes a whole lot better. And also, I've seen variations of this recipe where they do like queso from scratch, or they'll make a cheese sauce using kind of a roux of flour and oil and butter, and then they just add some cheese to it. But to me, this is how I remember it at Jay Gilligan's. This is my favorite version of it. So we're going to go ahead and do this. And Tillamook is my absolute favorite cheese. I discovered them when we used to go to Oregon pre-2020, and we went to the Tillamook factory, and ever since I had that cheese, I just haven't looked back. I just love this stuff. Anyway, I think we have about 10 minutes left with those potatoes in the oven, and we will be right back, okay? Okay, so the potatoes are done, so they got this nice little golden brown on them, and you're going to want to leave your oven on because you are now going to add the toppings, with the exception of the sour cream. You're going to put the cheese, you're going to put the green onions, the bacon, and then you're going to put it back in for about 5 minutes to just let it all melt. Let me show you how I'm going to do this, okay? If you crisped your potatoes up on a regular baking sheet, then you can just skip this step right here. But I'm trying to make this as authentic as possible to the pub, Jay Gilligan's, because this is how they bring it out to you. They bring it out to you in a skillet. So that is what we're going to do here. I'm just going to get these all plated up, or I'll get these all put in the pan, and I'll come back and show you the rest. Now this is where you're going to want to season these potatoes according to your preference. I've put just a little bit of salt and pepper on it. This granulated garlic comes out pretty quickly, so I just put some of that into my hand. I'm going to sprinkle that on. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of onion powder. You don't want to overwhelm this too much because it's already going to have so many good seasonings going on with the cheese and the bacon bits and all that. This is just to give it a little bit of extra seasoning. Now I'm going to just start adding the cheese. Use as little or as much as you would like. I just kind of guesstimated on this. And, you know, you can mix and match your cheeses. You can use Colby Jack. You can use queso. You can use mozzarella. Just make it your own. And because I am going to be sharing these with my daughters who don't eat meat, I am only going to put some of the bacon bits on half. Okay, and then I'm going to take the green onion and just kind of put that all over all of it. All right, now we're going to just stick this back into the oven for about 5 minutes, and we'll be back for the taste test. Be back in 5. They are done and they are looking good. Let's go taste them. All right, here we go. Looks so good. Now I'm going to just dip it in a little bit of my Greek yogurt. Do not make the mistake of using vanilla like I've done in the past. It absolutely has to be plain if you don't have sour cream. All right, here we go. Those are just as good as I remember. and I don't have to drive 4 hours to get to Arlington to eat them. These are so good, guys. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Let me know what you're cooking in the kitchen today or how you're celebrating. Y'all take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.